My first guest today, our coach, Victoria, is here. Awesome.
Hi,
Nice to see you.
likewise.
Awesome.
Thank you for
So,
having me.
thank you. She is a holistic wellness coach as well as a holistic
Yes.
growth success coach as well. She has her title as You Can Heal What You Don't Feed. Interesting. You can heal what you don't feed. The nutrients foundation of the mental health. So she is now at a cottage. Is that correct?
I am in Ontario, yes,
Awesome.
in the middle
And
of LA.
is there a horse over there? Are you still riding a horse?
No, that's actually from Hungary.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So she stands for restoring mental health by returning to what? I don't know. She's going to share. She is expert in the nutrients and nutrition and exercise, so she's going to share that with us. She believes a calm, regulated nervous system starts in the, I don't know.
Nutrients.
Okay, we're going to wait for you to tell us in your speech. She is committed to teaching families how simple something she's going to share with us. And she is here to remind us that you can heal what you, I don't know. Tell us, Victoria. Thank you.
Hi, hi everyone. Thank you for listening. And before I begin to talk, I would like to invite everybody for a simple breathing exercise just to be present, just to calm our nervous system. This simple breathing exercise is called the 4-7-8. So we will start to inhale. First, we're going to empty our lungs with a whoosh sound, and then we will inhale to the count of 4. We will hold that breath to the count of 7, and we will exhale with a sound of whoosh to the count of 8. So when you're ready, let's empty our lungs and inhale, and then hold, and then exhale. And inhale to the count of 4 again. Hold, count of 7, and exhale. And inhale, hold, and exhale. And one more. Inhale, hold, and exhale to the count of 8. So now that we regulated our nervous system, when we breathe slow, we become present, we slow down. And when you slow breathe, you cannot be stressed because everything slows down. When we are stressed, our heartbeat increases, but when we are very conscious of our breathing, everything slows down. Your nervous system gets regulated. So my topic is on the undeniable connection between mental health and nutritional deficiency. In other words, we can't really discipline and make up for the fact that the child brain is not getting enough nutrients. Nowadays, we have way more information than we ever before, and it's very easy to get lost in this information maze, basically, because there are so many information, so many conflicting information. What's right, what's wrong, what works fast, what works at all. We don't have time, but we want results. So that all started with my wellness journey, that I became very sick starting in my early 20s. So that's how I got into wellness. And back then, I believed in Western medicine. I believed the doctor knows best. And I let my health out of my hand into, back then, thinking the capable hands of the doctors. So it's all started with depression, anxiety, chronic fatigue, constant state of fight or flight. If anything stressful happened, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't get over it. I was in a state of stress for weeks, sometimes months on end, which was slowly breaking down my immune system. And I had chronic lower back pain. I ate a very poor diet, lots of screen time, very little time in nature. I was totally disconnected from my circadian rhythm, the light, the sun, and a natural rhythm to go to sleep at 10 p.m. and wake up almost always at the same time, which our body needs. Our body regulates itself when we give that help. So I didn't do all of this, and my health was declining. And one day, after my so many round of pills that the doctor tried to cure my problems, I just had enough. I said, enough is enough. So I got up and I walked out of the doctor's office. I didn't know anything. What am I going to do? I just knew that the answers couldn't be in the pills. So after that, I started to ferociously read, research, and I started with little steps because I didn't know what I was doing. So I started to reconnect with nature, more walks, more sun, less screen time. I juiced. I started to turn toward whole foods, organic whenever possible. And I started to ditch gluten, caffeine. I was smoking regularly at that point, almost. I smoked on and off almost 25 years in my life. So I ditched all of that. I ditched gluten. As it turns out, gluten is an inflammatory component in the food, a very ubiquitous one, I might add. And it also affects our mental health. As a matter of fact, researchers made a very strong connection between even schizophrenia and gluten. So I started to get rid of slowly but surely. And I am really emphasizing the fact that it's not an overnight process. So slowly but surely, I started to make little changes. And then I really listened to my body. Does this work? Does it do something good that I feel better, or I feel worse, or I feel the same? So I started to make things non-negotiable. Gluten being a non-negotiable part of my life. I quit drinking. First thing in the morning, I go outside and I get natural light to reawaken my circadian rhythm and tell my body that this is the morning. And my sleep improved tremendously because of my sleep-wake cycle. And of course, exercise is very important, and grounding, bare feet in nature. So unfortunately, I notice it with children, including mine, that their health really struggling, younger and younger compared to previous generations. And mental health is a big part. And as parents, we're trying to step it up, like, why is my child emotionally dysregulated? They lack focus. They seem to have a lot more meltdowns that is harder to handle. It's very hard to soothe them. And parents thinking, maybe I am doing something wrong. Maybe I am not disciplining enough. However, if that child's brain doesn't get enough nutrients, there is no discipline that can make up for the fact that the brain is starving. Compared to the body's whole mass, the brain is such a small part. However, it takes up a very big part of the nutrients, which nowadays very hard to get. Why is that? Because the soil is depleted, because the foods are depleted, because from depleted soil and from processed food, the body cannot take up the nutrients. So one of my biggest discovery in my own health journey was the gut-brain connection. As a matter of fact, we call the gut as the second brain. Why is that? Because we have a lot of microbiome in that. And when the microbiome out of balance, we call it dysbiosis, or totally just going berserk, which is the leaky gut, which meaning that nutrients and food particles can get into the body, can function. Your immune system is not going to react. Your health, your immune system, big part is in the gut. So when the gut is not working, which is unfortunately we notice in younger and younger children, unfortunately it's going to show up as an emotional, as a behavioral problem, which we can't discipline, and teachers can have a hard time with children who are really not wanting to be bad. They are not born bad. They are just born and they are just not getting enough nutrients for their brain. So what can we do? What are little actionable steps a parent can do to correct that problem? So first, start with getting that child out in nature, getting the sun into their eyes, and limiting screen time. What's the problem with screen time? Screens has blue light, which interrupts our circadian rhythm. If you look back ancestrally, we didn't have blue lights. We had the fire, and we had red light at night. So unfortunately, that interrupt their sleep patterns, even if they look like they slept well. Unfortunately, that sleep is not nourishing, that's not replenishing, and it's not restorative. So very important for parents that they limit screen time. Now, nutrition-wise, what can we do? During my research, I realized that even with organic food, even when we switch to whole processed food, we still need to supplement with some of the nutrients because the soil is depleted, and in spite of our best efforts, we don't always get what we need from the soil. The first part is I really encourage parents and anybody who really cares for their health to ditch fast food. Ultra-processed food has nothing good to offer to the body. It's addictive. It's hard to stop once you really like it, but it has nothing nutrient-wise. But in the breakdown process, it's stealing nutrients from your body. So it doesn't bring anything, but it's taking nutrients out. So my suggestion that this needs to be limited and switch to whole unprocessed food. What does that mean? Anything that comes in nature. So the vegetables in its whole form, the fruits, the meat, grass-fed meat that is, wild caught fish. These are all nutrient-rich food that your body recognizes and can take out all the nutrients that it needs. Now, first, we need to heal the stomach, right? So what do? We need to replenish good bacteria. So I highly suggest fermented food, such as yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, tempeh. These are all food that helps with the good bacteria. I also recommend bone broth. That was a really good thing for me to heal my gut. And if you research it, you can see testimonials just saying how much it helps. Besides that, it's also high in collagen, which we need in all parts of our bodies. So that's what I would start, because if the stomach is not functioning well, it cannot absorb nutrients. And unfortunately, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. So we need a very well-functioning stomach with that. So a couple of nutrients that I would say important. So for the stomach, L-glutamine is a very important part because it repairs the stomach lining. So is bone broth. So you start with that, and then we start to look at other important nutrients that will help. So for the brain, we're all deficient in omega-3. In other words, DHA, which is in grass-fed products, grass-fed meat, plus fish or fish oil. I recommend fish oil instead of capsules if you can, because then you know right away if it's rancid. In the fish capsule, unfortunately, it's not always evident. Magnesium is another important thing. Our nervous system is all very turned up and it's very hard to soothe. Magnesium is a big part of soothing the nervous system. Magnesium also takes place in over 400 biochemical processes in the body, and we're all deficient across the board. So I really suggest a very good high quality magnesium supplements. And also zinc. Zinc is for the immune system. So those are the couple of supplements that I would suggest right off the bat. The other thing is vitamin D. Unfortunately, we're all deficient in vitamin D. We're living in the North Hemisphere. Most of us, I live in the North Hemisphere. Unfortunately, half the year it's overcast here. So even if we get enough sun in the summer, the winter is a write-off in that regard. And I really suggest vitamin D. It's a hormone. It's important for so many reasons. And it's really responsible for your mood, just like the sun. So I really recommend that. Now, what else is very important besides food is connecting to your food and to explain it to children. How do you connect to your food, where your food is coming from, and why is it important? We think that children are just little beings, that they don't know anything, they just accept anything. Children do feel when they don't feel well. They are very well aware. They just think that's the only way because that's the only way they live their life. But when there is an improvement, they notice it and they want this. So when you involve your child, let's say going to the farmer's market, when you guys eat together as a family, when there is no phone there, just wholesome conversations, that regulates, that soothes the child's nervous system, then they open up to share. So taking your child to a grocery store and let them choose their food and explaining, why do you choose that? Why did you choose that? Let's say instead of cereal, we're going to take eggs. And why? Because egg nourishes your brain. It doesn't cause a midday crash, while cereal, while it tastes good, it just causes a midday crash. And unfortunately, your brain gets really hyperactive on it. And then boom, crashes. So we want something that keeps us going without a crash. So I always recommend for breakfast, instead of cereal or pastry, eggs, yogurt, some meat like bacon or sausage, and some fruits. And if you must have some carbs after that, do it after. Then your is already half full, so the absorption is slowed down. So you don't get that sugar rush where when children get hyperactive. That's one thing I would recommend. And it's something that any parents can follow easily. And eventually you get used to it, and it's like a new way of life. So when the child is really deficient, slow steps are important because their taste buds are also used to something else. So there is like a transitioning period where they still may have access to their old way of being, but we're already introducing new things such as smoothie. Again, we can incorporate their help. They can choose what vegetable goes into that smoothie. They can help peel the vegetables, and we can talk about what this vegetable will do to them, what the fruit will do to them. And eventually they feel the difference and they can evolve from there and make their own choices. Other thing that is important to understand that going to farmer's market instead of getting your everything from grocery store, farmer's market, you know exactly where your food is coming from. It's less pesticide. It's usually organic. They still have the soil on it, which is very rich in microbiome. So it's really different. And nutrition wise, you can actually fill that child with more nutrition if you go right to the source, back to our roots, basically. And so when you take your child to the farmer's market, you can have these conversations with the child, like, what are we getting? Why are we getting it? And what change it will create. All child wants to feel great. Everybody wants to feel great. They just don't. They don't want meltdowns. We think of the child like, oh, my child is really unruly. No, they are screaming literally for nutrients, but they don't have the vocabulary. They don't understand the biochemical processes that's going on in their bodies. But we can nourish that child. We can give that child what it needs. So what we need to do is, going back to our roots, think about, how did our grandparents eat? How did our grandparents eat? And then we get the answer. When you go into a grocery store, you only shop on the outside of the grocery store because that's where the produce is, that's where the dairy, that's where the meat is. And inside, it's only processed food. The more processed, the less nutritious is. So what can we do? What are certain foods that I would like if children had less? Cereals, cookies, candies with colorings. We're getting into the realm of ADHD. ADHD is actually exacerbated by food colorings. So it's actually something that with change of diet can be calmed down. So I would very much limit sweets. Go back to sweets that you make, like cookie from almond flour, or go back to something like pancakes that you make with good quality flour, and then you put on jam that you made at home. So colorings in food, unfortunately, is another component that causes behavioral issues. So you really want to be present what you're giving to your child. And when you sit down in the evening to dinner, make sure that you listen about their days. Make sure that you ask what happened. Ask questions. What made you sad? What made you happy? Because it make them think about life and about the connection between what's going on mentally in the mental realm and how does it affect their own bodies. So just these kind of conversation. And in the evening, let's say, limit screen time and give them a book, a physical book that they can read and you can discuss with them. Give them a magnesium bath. It's not just going to help their sleep, it's going to regulate their nervous system. And make sure that they get out and they move, that they have enough exercise in their day. Just incorporate that and do it together. Do it as a family. Don't let them just figure it out themselves, because they can't. Children really rely on top parents and their guidance. And if you show good example, you don't even have to speak it. They see. I can't eat something unhealthy and tell my child, no, you need to eat spinach. It's not going to work. So you need to lead by example. And when you're healthier, your child healthier. I remember when I started to change my diet and we started to juice. And of course, I incorporated my son's health in that. And about a month into that, he told me that he was less winded after a run and he could run faster. When my child realizes that, it's way more powerful than when I try to make that point, because they experience it, and children want to naturally feel better. They weren't born sick. It's just our circumstances that causing it. And the food and the commercials. So that's why it's very important that we limit screen time for them and we limit what kind of content they are access to. So that's something is very important, because our children are our future. And if we don't feed them right now, sadly, I wish I could say it otherwise, they're going to grow into sick and mentally weak adults. So brain health, gut health are intimately and undeniably connected. We cannot think one and not the other. You get your gut health healthy, you get your brain health. It goes together and starts in nutrition. So that's pretty much the gist of it. We never meant to feel bad. We just lost our connection to nature. We lost our connection to the roots, but we are rediscovering, and we know better. And when we know better, we do better. So on that note, I wish everybody an amazing journey. Remember, start small. Start with small actionable steps without overwhelm. And when you see the results, you're going to feel so encouraged that you will want to carry on. Start one little thing a day and then work your information up. If you just start with, we're just going to add magnesium, we're just going to add vitamin D into our regime. And then you sit down with your child, you talk about what you would like, you involve them with the food, because that's where it all starts.
Thank you, Victoria. That was amazing. Thank you. As always, so much wisdom. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. There was a lot of comments for you. Is there any questions for Victoria today? But what you said I love a lot is that the connections between the brain and the gut, so important. And then we always tell our kids, why can't you're lazy? But it could be what they ate. And they're not lazy, right? They're slow.
They are tired.
They're tired. They ate food that their body can digest. And
Right.
all the energy is in the tummy digesting that instead of
exactly. That's why I always emphasize, before you start to discipline your child and punish your child, I think the first question to ask, how did I feed that child today? What did that child get today? Did I talk to this child? Did I feed this child brain? The child doesn't want to act up. the child is starving for attention, the child is starving for nutrition. If those are met, you will get a whole different child that you feel you never knew. That child is inside, in that body that you always, that dream child is in there. It just needs to be brought out with the correct nutrition and the correct connection.
Yes, just like a plant. We talked about showing.
Exactly.
So another question I have is, you were saying make jam at home, make pancake from flour that's healthy, and then maybe somebody is listening going, I don't have time for all of that. I'm so busy.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just, let's say, just exactly. And it's a very good question and very valid nowadays, how busy people are. So basically, my go-to food for the morning, if you're in a rush, is eggs, because eggs are nutrition. I call them nature multivitamins, It's easy to make. And it's the other thing I do, I boil eggs in the beginning of the week. And if anybody's in the rush, they just grab a couple. And I always have food at home that is ready to get. Pick up a banana, like something that is natural, something that came from nature, and something that is easy. So let's say in the beginning of the week, Sunday evening, boil up 20 eggs, and then have that in a ready-to-go box, or have ready some bacon or some cut up little meat or fish. And you can just grab that on the go. Do pancakes when you have more family time, or in the weekend, or so that you still have the treats. It's not all strict, because there is memory in that child about taste they like. So we don't want to completely cut that out, and we don't have to. We just have to change the ingredients.
And another thing, as I'm listening to you coming, and I'm sure a lot of people have this too, you said, let's change, right? You have to change first. Let's say I feel like I've gone too much, like our house is filled with cereals, filled with chocolates, filled with whatever, dyed food and colorings and all this. I start changing, everybody's going to be upset. You're going to have
And that's
a war.
very true. Very true. And that's, again, a very valid point. And I experienced it even in my own life. That's why small steps important. Let's say, instead of, if you had cereal for that child every single day, let's write out a little plan on the fridge and say, okay, you can have cereal, but first it's Monday, it's going to be eggs and bacon. It's Tuesday, it's going to be yogurt with fruit. And if you're still hungry after that, then you can have some cereal. And most of the time, a protein-rich breakfast gonna fill them up. So they may not even want that cereal. And then eventually, how they feel better and they avoid that midday crash and that emotional meltdowns, they may say to you as well, oh, Mom, I was running faster today, or I wasn't so tired in the afternoon. They will tune. Children are actually very connected to their bodies more than us, because they are closer to their birth. So it's not so disconnected yet. So they will want to feel better. They just don't know how. That's where we come in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a question here, Victoria. It says, Kim says, how do you know if something is high quality supplement?
So one thing I go by is, if it's third-party tested, is very important, because unfortunately supplements are tainted with heavy metals, with other microplastic, for instance. So we have to be really on the ball with. I look, in Canada, it's called Ashura for third party, but just always look up a supplement and see where it's coming from. Let's say if you buy it in like chain stores, it might not be as high, and you may need to seek it out online. But it's really worth it, because if it's poor quality supplements, then it just make your urine expensive, but it's not going to do what it needs to do. So closer to nature, see what it's made of, what they make that nutrients. If it's just from lab, it's not going to be as rich and available to your body. So look for bioavailable, look for fermented, look for like glycinate or certain chemical breakdown of it than just the simple nutrients. So high quality. And also another thing, that sometimes there are rich food that you can get your nutrients. 3 things come to mind: chlorella, spirulina, and Irish moss. These 3 foods are like loaded with most of the minerals and supplements. So that's something I recommend and I consume personally. And just one thing I forgot is water to mention, very important. So unfortunately, we're dehydrated. Doesn't matter how much water we drink, if that water is not filtered, it has pharmaceuticals in it, it has microplastics in it, it has all kinds of, it has chlorine in it, which is not great for us. And the other thing, we need cellular hydration. So what are we gonna do? We either put salt in that water, good quality salt like Celtic salt or Himalayan salt, or we put electrolytes because we need cellular hydration. It's imagine if you have just a pipe and you put water in it, it's just gonna go through. So this is what's gonna happen to that water if it doesn't contain at least a good quality salt or electrolytes. Very true. Health foods are more expensive, and I agree with that. Now, I am a bargain shopper, so this is how I go around. When I go into a store sometimes, so I actually go and buy what's on sale. So many times I can go under the regular, the pesticide-laden food for organic because I buy it when it's on sale. And I go to a couple of stores, and then I also know where to go. So once you learn, initially it's going to be more work. And I agree. But then again, your health worth it. Spirulina was the third. So your health is so worth it. So when you say time, you either put in time now in your health, or you're going to be forced to put time into your sickness later. Guaranteed. It's a matter of time. So it's like priorities, right? What's your priority? We can have 1,000 wishes in life. We get sick, we have only one wish at that moment to get better. So why not prevent that issue and take care of it now while we do have it?
There's another question here, Victoria.
Yeah, very good question. Thank you for asking that, because vitamin D, I do vitamin D3, yes, but very important, vitamin D with K2. Without K2, it's not going to absorb the same way. So when you get the vitamin D, I prefer it in a liquid form, again, more absorption, and the other is vitamin K2. So just look for that two letters on the bottle and you're good. I would say D3 with K2. So I would add to the question, what is the best way to get it? And it's with K2. Very important. If it's not, your absorption rate gonna be suboptimal, and we don't want that.
Did you say K2?
Very good question. Thank you.
Victoria,
K2.
did you say
yeah,
K2?
K2. So there is, yeah, K2. Very good question. Thank you for that, Vanessa. Seasonal eating. Yes, I support seasonal eating because that's what your body is used to. Let's not forget that not so long ago, we worked with nature. We didn't have supermarkets. So we had what was available in season. As a matter of fact, I actually read an article about that when it's not in season, it's not so beneficial to our bodies because our bodies are not that easily fooled. We know what's in season and what's not on the place of the earth we are located to. So yes, it's way better to eat in season. That's why biologically, historically, we meant to eat more fruits in the summer and less in the winter. That's why we, like in the beginning of September, the season, we get a little bit more food. We may put on a little bit more weight to prepare us for the winter where we have less fruit, less produce, and we eat more meat to keep us warm, to keep us just strong through the winter because it's tougher biologically on our bodies.
Was it potassium, Miss Vanessa's asking? K2 is potassium?
I actually, yeah, I don't know. There is K2, like it's a vitamin. There is K1 and K2. It's a vitamin. It's not very talked about, but why is it important? Because it supports your cardiovascular system. Like we know examples, like very extreme examples who ate so well, like they were the epitome of health and they dropped of a heart attack. And when there was a autopsy, it turns out they were K2 deficient. So K2 is incredibly important, not just for absorption, but for our cardiovascular system. You want to have nice vein. You don't want to have varicose veins. You want to protect yourself with K2.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything else for Victoria? Victoria, when you came in, I thought I was sharing your pictures, but I was not sharing the pictures. So I made a bloopers. I was making some mistake. It's probably why you were thinking, what was I? Did I show the picture of you here like this?
I saw pictures, but I don't know if it was just for.
Did you guys see her picture? Because I was thinking that I was sharing it on the side of my outside of this program. Can you guys tell me, did you see her on the horse? This picture came up? Just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. I just wanted you to see her beautiful, blessed life. So I needed you to answer that. So we might as well go through it, Victoria. So you stand for restoring mental health by returning to what?
Nature and
Beautiful.
our roots.
That's right. She believes a calm, regulated nervous system starts in the
gut.
Exactly. I hope every one of you said that. She is committed to teaching families how simple
A healthy, nutritious meal can be and how you can incorporate it step by step.
And she is here to remind us that you can heal what you
don't nourish.
Yeah. You said it right. These two things are not separate systems. They're working together. You want to perform, you got to eat, right? Healthy food. Thank you. Anything else you want to say to our listeners?
Just basically that even if it looks like it's a big undertaking because you already have a busy schedule, just imagine how you climb a mountain one step at a time. It may seem enormous, but you only do one step at a time. And this is the small actionable steps I was talking about. So instead of overwhelm, just think one thing you can change today. Even if you just put salt in your water or get a good quality supplements, that's one step. And then carry on from there.
That was an important reminder about the water. The water we drink is not cellularly nourishing us. That's important. Right. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking your time to be here today. And do you have anything to share with the audience? Your links or anything like that, or anything?
Yes. So thank you for having me here, Kohila. I really enjoy it and enjoy your work. People can follow me on Victoria Believe In. So Victoria is with a K, Believe In, Believein. I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram, I am on LinkedIn and Telegram. And it's you can send me emails at healthrebelhwc@gmail.com. I work with clients who would like to feel good, would like to feel energized, lose weight, and I work on the gut-mood connection. So if you are interested working with me, there is the link at the bottom of the screen. And my website is www.life.com.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Don't be afraid to change.
Yes. Changes everything. Also, Victoria's information is in the journal that today we will be sharing here. I think it might be shared and pinned to the top. So yes, that's right. I'm reading it and I'm saying it as if I don't know, but it is pinned to the top. So in that journal, we shared your links, Victoria. So somebody will reach out to you. Thank you so much. Enjoy your rest of your vacation.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. Thank you.